Bugle Major.
Sir!
Sound the advance.
Hello, I'm Bugle Major Hayter, and behind me are the buglers from One Rifles. In 2020, this platoon has two primary roles. We're assault pioneers, providing One Rifles with an infantry engineering capability, conducting tasks ranging from bridging gaps to explosive methods of entry. But we also have a ceremonial role. We are Rifles Buglers. Now, 200 years ago, Bugle Platoon were not assault pioneers. They were signallers. The military did not have radios, so each key personality and each company had a bugler. And amongst the chaos, orders would echo across the battlefield. The silver bugle is connected to the birth of the chosen man and has helped shape modern-day infantry tactics. Around the mid-1700s, looking at the British Army formed up for war, you will have seen thousands of men stood in neat rectangular blocks, wearing bright red tunics and firing inaccurate muskets. They were also reacting to the sound of the drum. The drum was easy to an extent to react to because they were stood so close together. In 1800, Colonel Coote Manningham was given the task of raising the experimental corps of riflemen, selecting men who were known to be good shots and deemed as a cut above the rest. They took on new tactics. They ditched the red tunics, opting for green, an early sign of camouflage. They were also issued the Baker rifle, a weapon system with a rifle barrel, allowing them to shoot further and straighter. And lastly, they operated in small teams flanking the enemy. Well, this meant two things. Firstly, they had to react to things on the ground and make decisions, hence the term thinking rifleman. And secondly, if an order did need to be delivered to the rifleman, the drum wouldn't cut it. It just wouldn't carry the distance required and would sound muffled. They needed something different. A few years earlier, fighting in North America, alongside the British, were Hanoverian and Hessian troops. Within these troops, there were special units called the Jaeger. The Jaeger's ancestors used the horn of a wild ox to produce huntsman-like sounds. The Jaegers were skilled hunters. Another name for a wild ox is a bugle. The chosen men adopted the bugle and started forging them from metal. They found the ones made from silver carried the clearest and the furthest. Allow us now to perform a fanfare sounded out of respect for the origins of the bugle. It's called Green Jaeger. When in camp, the duty bugler's role was and still is battalion timekeeper. Only the wealthy and officers had watches, so the duty bugler would let the battalion know key timings, like when to wake up with rouse. Or that the hot plate is open, with cookhouse. The duty bugler might need to muster the troops, with fall in. This next call is one that raises the most morale amongst the troops. It's no more parades. The last call that we will sound is famous in its own right. At 2100, the bugler would sound first post. That would let all the soldiers in the garrison know it is time to return to camp. Then the battalion orderly officer would check the pickets. Once the camp was secure and the last picket was checked, the bugler would sound last post. You can still hear the same calls sounded in any Rifles battalion today. The bugle is one of the things that makes the Rifles unique. I hope you've enjoyed this display, and we will now double away to a piece called Smoke.